what happens in these environments, you know, when you grow up in the projects and in the hood, is that you know, your parents are working most of the time, so you don't really get to sit around and chop it up and kick it. You always at somebody's house, somebody always watching you, because your parents out there trying to make a living. So even within, you know,
riches in the room, riches in the room, riches in the room, riches in the room, riches in the room.
Out of my clothes, but I like rich on fruit. What's good, the rich ones? I was in the car, but I wanted to get out. I'm up here at Joe Davis Stadium. I don't know why my lighting look like that. Let's see if I can find a better spot. Just better, just a little better. Yeah, basically, man, it's like, welcome back, the rich ones. I ain't really got much today going on. I'm gonna go pick my son up. But, one thing I've noticed that's like, that made a real big impact on me and my folks is that, you know, we started embracing each other and telling each other that we love us. I know we grew up, like, I'm sure, like, my parents probably grew up and their parents didn't really, like, tell them they loved them as they was leaving, coming and going. And I can say when I hit maybe like 14 or 15, every time it started, like, I started to kind of get a little conscious of, like, you know, my big mom was getting older. And as I would come and go, I would tell her I love her and I would hug her all the time. And then I started doing it with my grandmama, and then I saw my sister start picking up on it, and she started doing it too. And it's just like I'm sure, like, my mom, I feel like my mom, she grew up, and, you know, her mom or dad didn't necessarily tell her, you know, they love her, or, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Basically what I'm getting at is that, you know, coming from the environments that we come from, some of y'all may come from an environment where your parents already do it. But just, I know us, when we was growing up, like, as we was coming and go, my mama ain't tell us she loved us or hugged us as we was coming and going. But as I got older and I got a little more wiser, you know, I started to tell my mom I love her. And I could tell it made her feel a little uncomfortable because she wasn't used to it. But now it's then got to the point to where she tells me she loves me first. And, you know, we all do it, me, my sisters. But I just noticed, you know, like, me and my sister, we did it with our kids just naturally, but we didn't do it when it came to, you know, our dad and our mom, and that's because they didn't do it to us. But now that we're doing it, you could tell, like, there's a barrier to where our relationship is better. We're closer, and we're closer to each other. Like, me and my mama got probably the best relationship in my life, because she give me a lot of game, but we didn't start to develop that relationship until that barrier was broken. Because a lot of times the word, like, I love you, you know, it's uncomfortable when it in, you know, poverty stricken environments, because some people say it and they just say it and it doesn't hold weight. But when you say it and it holds weight, you can see, like, things will start to change in your relationships. You won't have as much confrontation and, you know, things of that nature, because some people just say it and, like I say, it don't hold weight. But when you say it and you mean it, like, me and my mama don't never argue about nothing, or, like, we don't never have, like, disagreements. We don't never argue. Me and my sister don't never argue. We don't never have disagreements. Like, of course, you know, we always put each other on to new things, but we don't never argue. Like, and I feel like that's because a barrier was broken to where, you know, we really genuinely love each other. I'm not saying we don't feel away at times, but it doesn't get to the point to where, you know, it's out of control and it's confrontational. Like, we don't fuss, we don't fight, stuff like that. But even like with my dad, like, I started telling my dad I love him, and I know he was uncomfortable. Like, I could just, you know, it's like a vibe that you could sense. But, you know, the more I kept doing it and the more that he kept doing it, our relationship got closer. He's one of my best friends in my life. So basically what I'm just trying to get at is, you know, like if you come from poverty-stricken environments, or you come from an environment where, you know, your mom wasn't there, your dad wasn't there, but you know, y'all do have some type of relationship, start trying to, you know, if you want to get closer to your parents, be the one to engage on the relationship. Don't, you know, allow them to be the one to embrace the relationship, because they had nobody to teach them, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, like, we be looking for certain things when it come to our parents, but they don't even know. They didn't have nobody to teach them these things. So, you know, be the first one to do it. Take initiative, especially when it come to your kids, man. Embrace your kids. I understand it's hard out here, and, you know, we all trying to get to it and make a living, but when it come to your kids, you know what I'm saying, make sure that they know that you love them. Make sure that they feel that love, and to where they never have to question that and question your intentions and stuff like that. So I had wrote that topic down a while ago. I didn't really have much. I gotta double down on videos today because I was out late last night working. So that's basically my message for this video is, you know, just love your family. Tell them you love them. Hug them as you coming and going. You know, if there's any type of friction in your relationships, I'm telling you that love will start to make that friction disappear. It'll make things better in your relationship, because one thing I can say is the closer you get to your parents, the closer you start to get to yourself, because you know yourself. You'll start to understand your ways. You'll start to understand why you are like you are. I can say one thing about my dad is he's very like a shell type of individual. Like, he don't like a lot of people in his space, and I could say, you know, getting to know him and the talks that we have, I realize that's where I get that from. My mom is the same way, but my dad, he has a way of like he's the type of person where you only gonna know what he wants you to know, and I feel like that's real, like, boss, like, you know, like that's how you supposed to move. And I respect that about him. But I feel like, you know, that's where I picked that up from. He moves in a certain way. Like, a lot of my friends, some of my people, they be like, man, you still move like you sell this, or that you know what I mean? And it's not the fact that, you know, it's an intentional. It's just, I feel like that's how a boss is supposed to move. But I can't say I get that from my dad. You never know where he at. You never know what he doing. He's a very spontaneous man. And that's kind of like, you know, I feel like that's where I picked that up from. When it comes to my mom, she's very intelligent, very wise woman, very, you know, conscious, very in tune. Like, she understands psychology, she understands body language. She thinks on a totally different level, you know what I mean? And that's where I get that from. So I get the best of both worlds. But I didn't learn those things until that first initial thing was, you know, just telling my mom I love her. And breaking that barrier. And then once I broke that barrier, I started to ask questions like, you know, why you like this, or why you don't like this, or, you know, finding out about her, you know, just her memories. Like, you could tell certain things, like she gets excited about when she talk about it. Same with my dad. Like, he has his stories he gets excited about when he talks. Like, you know what I'm saying, where there's a moment that they lived. When you start asking the questions and you start to tap into their mind, you know, they start telling you these things. But like I say, I didn't get to know those things until I started breaking those barriers and, you know, becoming one with my parents. Because like I say, and when you come from poverty-stricken environments, you don't really know much. All you know is like he say, she say, oh, your mama was this, or oh, your daddy was this, or they did this. But to hear it from their mouth and for them to allow you to come into their world, you know, on a more deeper level, it's like a trust thing. Y'all start to develop more of a trust thing. Because what happens in these environments, you know, when you grow up in the projects and in the hood, is that you know, your parents are working most of the time, so you don't really get to sit around and chop it up and kick it. You always at somebody's house, somebody always watching you, because your parents out there trying to make a living. So even within, you know, them trying to make a living, or if you've already been through that with your parents, just start to break that barrier, start to build that trust. They know you love them and you know they love you, but it's one thing to, you know, just high and by. But when you start to get in depth with what's going on and how they think, you start to find yourself a little bit more. So, you know what I'm saying, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, you know, be the one to take that initiative and, you know, just, yeah, just find out, because I learned a lot just through my son. So I think that's gonna be my video for today, man. Basically, man, love yourself and love your peoples. Tell your peoples you love them every day. But I'm about to go pick my son up right now, man. Like I said, I was trying to think of a topic because I got to double down on videos today. So maybe I'll catch another one with him, me and him kicking it, doing some stuff. But man, don't forget, you the greatest thing that ever happened to this earth. You're a genius and you're a rich one.
In the room, richest 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 in